women are different. And I think we've been clumped into a lot of the general guidelines. It's so easy to get into patterns where we actually have no idea how much we're eating. The average adult only eats 18 out of the recommended 30 grams. I do a lot of talks in the space of women's health. And I remember one I did last year, and we were talking about alcohol and fertility. And the bottom line is fertility.org says even one drink per week can affect your fertility. But that's not the messages that we get, right? The NHS says 14 units a week is fine. And you're like, where's the disconnect? Because breastcancer.org is like, even one drink a week can increase your risk. So women are different. And I think we've been clumped into a lot of the general guidelines. But unfortunately, especially with things like alcohol, because it is a carcinogen, we need to be more mindful. Again, it's probably not you, but we're kind of taught to think it's totally fine. You know? One of the most important things I think that we can all do is just keep a food log, a lifestyle log, because it's so easy to get into patterns where we actually have no idea how much we're eating. In the UK, only 3 out of 5 of us hit the 5 a day. I think only 5% of women hit the RDA of fiber. The average adult only eats 18 out of the recommended 30 grams of fiber per day. So like we've got a lot of stuff we need to work on, but it's almost impossible to work on it when you don't know what your baseline is, right? So even just making a log with no judgment, no criticism, and you'll notice patterns, right? And if you can jot down how you feel on top of that is even better, right? Because we have so much info at our disposal, but we just kind of don't use it.
Yeah, and I think we've got a good way of tracking things. We can track our exercise, our sleep, so we can create this baseline, but it's knowing actually how it's changing from day to day. Because you kind of, as women, you are accepting of, I just have this headache that happens all the time. It's just normal, or I feel like this and that's just how I should feel. But actually, the enhancements that we can make to our lives are huge, but it's knowing what is our normal as women.
Yeah. And when I was in high school and when I was still eating all of the dairy products, my period pain was excruciating. I mean, it was excruciating. And as I've refined what I eat and cut things out, I mean, I don't have any pain now. And that for me was really eye-opening, even though I learned about that in my training, that actually having a very painful period isn't normal. It's common, but it's not the norm.
Yeah.
It's shocking when you try something out and it works, right? Because we're just told like, oh, it's normal, take some painkillers. And I think for us too, like we're loaded up on painkillers from teenagers, just take this. And so we just lose the connection with our bodies. And I think that kind of continues on throughout fertility, through pregnancy, through menopause. And I think it's really important.
Yeah, it's a lack of control, isn't it? It's almost feeling like you have to just accept as opposed to, more body literacy, understanding how our bodies do change as women. I think young girls, you're educated about the basics, but you don't understand how your hormones are changing. You don't understand what foods are probably good to eat at different phases or how to exercise your body at the right phase.
Yeah.
And if you look into, the whole world of gender, like the gender data gap is huge. Like there's not enough research, not enough funding or energy put into understanding women and doing research projects on women. Yeah. And that is honestly blown my mind over the past past few years to understand how wide that gap is.
Yeah, and for the longest time, women were excluded from clinical trials because they were too variable. But you're like, well, that's us. So you have to study that. And it's changing now, but I mean, it's just such a poor experience for so many of us. I remember after giving birth to my first, I went through a phase where I just knew something was wrong. So I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. I was super wired. I was having kind of heart palpitations. I felt really anxious, but anxious in a way that I didn't think was normal. So I went to the doctor and I explained what was happening. And the doctor said some women find the transition to motherhood really hard. And then they recommended I go on an anti-anxiety. And I was like, so not only did I leave feeling like such a failure, like here I am, somebody who thinks I'm really strong and I'm all about health. And what my doctor has just told me is I'm just not doing a good enough job. It's just hard. And actually, when I pulled myself together because I was so upset, I called them back. I complained. I got another doctor, and actually I had postpartum thyroiditis, which is very common. So I had gone hyperthyroid, which was causing my symptoms. And actually, so as women, you really have to also advocate for yourself. Until we get to a better place, you really have to push.
When there are so many supplement brands springing up, it's so refreshing to find one that I trust when it comes to quality and impact. Arta's award-winning range, which targets everything from gut health and energy to metabolism and longevity, is formulated with great care by their passionate founder, Rhiann Stevenson. Arta's supplements combine the highest quality ingredients to deliver results that you can really feel. No half measures, no cutting corners, just innovative formulas designed to work. Taking care of my body is so critical to how I perform, how I feel every day, and ultimately how I age. I'm loving their new multivitamin Advanced Multi-Nutrient. This multi has an impressive list of over 40 vitamins, minerals, and herbs with specialized ingredients like wild blueberry, turmeric, sage. The list goes on. Right now, you can save 20% across their range with the code GOLDMINES. Head to arta.co today. That's so hard because so many women would just get, lost almost and just, take the pills or whatever they're prescribed and not really understand that other women are going through similar situations and that there's a way, like an alternative route to feeling back to yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's where we have to understand like the system that we have here. It's in so many ways, it's incredible, right? But it's not set up for kind of the creation of health. And so that's where, for the time being, we need to take matters into our own hands a little bit. We have to learn about nutrition. We really have to lean in to good quality sleep, to managing our lifestyle, to cutting back on alcohol and ultra-processed foods, to really trying to get those foundations in check because it's really hard.
Do you feel like it's changing? So the past, you obviously set the company up in 2021, was it? Do you feel like it is changing, women's health, the understanding around women's health and nutrition?
Yeah, I think they're investing a lot into trying to change it. I do think that people are getting more open to it. I think there's a growing awareness of better diagnostics for things like endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome, infertility. So I do think it's going that way, but it's going to take a long time. So I think that we need to kind of have a level of personal investment into our health that maybe we didn't know we had to have.
Yeah, we have to take ownership, don't we? We have to be able to know our baseline and be able to present, to doctors or GPs or whoever it might be so that we can, explain how we feel, which is hard because there's never enough time either.
It's super hard. And even me, when I went in, so I'm somebody who has good health knowledge. Like I know a lot about health. I'm a qualified practitioner. Just having such I shriveled up. I felt very self-conscious and I left being like, oh, I'm just a bad mom. And so it's really important. Like, even if that happens, you can go back. You don't have to be like, oh, I messed that up. I guess I'll just,
But then you also have that feeling of, I don't want to be the person that keeps going back to the doctors and I feel like something's wrong with me, but you keep getting turned away.
I don't care anymore though, right? Like you kind of have to let go of that because look, maybe there will be nothing wrong, but a lot of the times there's something wrong. So you really have to push. And I think just trying to do it in a responsible way where you sit down ahead of time, you prep. So write down all the things that you want to ask because we go in and sometimes we get a bit scared. So we're like, oh, and you can even take in a family member just to help to advocate, to help to keep you on the dialogue that you wanted to talk about. But I mean, it's really hard.